One of the things that we're seeing with at least with the Bundy et al. Group of supporters is just quite a bit of division happening, quite a bit of polarization, disunity. Some people believe that this unity is being sowed by government agents, provocateurs who go in and stir up things on purpose to get the disunity and keep them divided, house divided kind of thing. Are you seeing any of that yourselves? And if you are, or do you agree that might be actually happening with government facilitation or government, as a catalyst, or do you think it's just happening by itself?
We see naturally? we see that in all the liberty movements. There's once the liberty movement, whatever it may be, starts to get to a certain point to really start to make a difference. Subversion, of course, is part of the process, but also egos. They love to support. They can subvert just by bringing enough of their own, what would you call them? Agents or whatever, and try to uplift, an individual they know has a high ego. You see, one of the things we have not suffered is control by egos here at National Liberty Alliance. We've been very, very careful working with people. We try to empower people as much as possible. The key point to this whole thing is getting to a point where we empower people in every single county, because we are building grassroots processes within the courts, and the people need to take control. And ultimately, that is controlled by a vow that people take to God, and it's a written vow, but it's also a vow from heart to God. That they need to take, that they're going to come with a sense of honor, justice, and mercy. And the 4 individuals that for each county, some counties like New York City would require more, but generally 4 is the key for every county. And these 4 people need to police themselves. If one of these people break their oath, being honorable, just, and merciful, one of these people break their oath, it's the duty of the other 3 to correct the 4th. And we're teaching that part of the process, because that's what has to happen. We have to stand on righteousness and justice. And part of what our strategy is God's intervention, because God could make things happen and work in the hearts of men, whether good or evil, and make things happen. So we kind of wait on him. All we have to do is the right thing. Be just, honorable, and merciful. And we're willing to give mercy to all of these individuals if they just turn around and start doing the right thing. Now, people may bring charges against them at a later point in time because they've been so evil and they've injured so many people, and they may want restitution. And then the local grand juries will have to assist in dealing with that process, either giving an indictment or possibly working out a solution. And that's part of the other process. Look, this is not about putting people in jail. This is about really restoring the people who are injured, because that's what common law is all about, okay, is to restore injured people and to prevent, people from, especially government, abusing the people. That's what common law is about. And so our jails are filled with people who don't really belong there. Most of them are in there for code violations, codes that they have no authority or power to write or enforce. We, the people, never gave them the power to write statutes to control our behavior. That's our job. It's between us and God. And that's a mature thought that people have to grab hold of and understand. We have to teach our children. They're responsible for their own action. And common law could be much more harsher than the statutory process. If someone violates an individual, they have to pay back and restore this individual sevenfold or fourfold, or whatever the jury feels is necessary. But look, at jail is the last resource. Only violent people belong in jail, and there's a process to deal with them in common law also. But look, we have to get law and order back, and it's got to be on the grassroots. And it's more than a mind change; it's also a heart change, because it's going to require the right heart in order for God to give us that blessing and give us liberty. Remember, the Constitution was written.
Okay, while we're waiting for John to get back on, let me interject a comment and ask a question. I spent one morning in that courtroom out in Vegas, and that I had to get out of there. I couldn't take it anymore. But it looks to me like our only recourse out there is to start filing papers on Navarro and starting the indictment progress. So my question is, how far away from filing papers on Judge Navarro?
Well, we are right there right now. It's a matter of putting the papers together. We have I've got a lot of stuff put together ready to file up onto our page, which will be evidence, and we have to then file it in the courts. So once we put all that evidence up, we'll be writing the papers, and it could be another couple of weeks. It could be less. We're dealing with a lot of paperwork. We have 30 habeas corpuses we have to get up there. Amongst those habeas corpuses are the habeas corpuses we did for those people out in Nevada, and we did habeas corpuses for those in Oregon. We want to enforce them and put the judges' flesh on the line here. By what authority did they not act? By what authority did they conceal? By what authority did they remove? All of these are statutes, lawful statutes. They cannot remove or conceal a document. It could be 20 years in jail for concealing a document, depending on the intention. If a judge is involved, forcing another person like a clerk to break the law, it's 20 years in jail statutorily for that judge. Okay, and that is a proper statute. You see, government is to write statutes to control themselves. That's part of the process. We've empowered them with that, but we've never empowered them with the process of writing statutes to control we the people. But in any event, we've got about 30 habeas corpuses that we need to get up in there that have been filed and ignored, either concealed or removed. We have a bunch of foreclosures that we're working on right now. And like I said, 7 are going up. There's a few others going up. We should catch up this week, hopefully. And then in this week, we'll be filing all these papers, getting all of the information into the court. I'd like to file almost immediately something for the assassination of Lavoy Finnegan. We've got all the evidence on that. We need to file it into the courts, and we need to write the papers. And we need to send this to the president and again to Jeff Sessions and to the 3 congressmen and again to the news media. Eventually, they've got to pick up on us. But the work that we're doing, when people understand how we're approaching this, we're using the system of common law that is still part of this nation, part of the judicial process that they cannot get rid of. They may make a statement here or there, but they cannot get rid of it. The 7th Amendment prevents it. The right of due process, the 5th Amendment prevents it. They must give it. Look, habeas corpus is the process you use when the 5th Amendment isn't being applied. And now that's not even working. That's how bad the court system is. There is no due process in our courts, and there is no fair hearing. There is no tribunal. All tribunals are controlled either by the judge or the prosecutor.